Linda Thompson is an English folk rock singer. Thompson became one of the most recognised names and voices in the British folk rock movement of the 1970s and 1980s, in collaboration with her then-husband and fellow British folk rock musician, guitarist Richard Thompson, and later as a solo artist. Biography. Early years. Born in Hackney, London, she moved with her family to Glasgow, Scotland, at the age of 6. Actor Brian Pettifer is her brother. Around 1966 she started singing in folk clubs, and in 1967 began studying modern languages at the University of London, but quit the latter after 4 months. She changed her name to Linda Peters. By day she sang advertising jingles, including one with Manfred Mann. She recorded the Bob Dylan song You Ain't Going Nowhere, released as an MGM single in 1968 by Paul McNeil and Linda Peters, McNeil being another friend of Sandy Denny and Alex Campbell. They released a second single as Paul and Linda in 1969 on Page One, the John D. Loudermilk song You're Taking My Bag. She met Richard Thompson in 1969 but they did not record together until 1972. Her reputation led to her being invited to join The Bunch, a loose supergroup of folk rock luminaries including former Fairport Convention members Sandy Denny, Richard Thompson, and Ashley Hutchings that recorded an album called Rock On. This was a set of 1950s rock and roll classics. A single was released from the album, the Everly Brothers' hit, When Will I Be Loved, which was a duet by Linda and Sandy. A second single was released soon afterwards, The Locomotion, sung by Linda alone. 2 versions exist, one with Sweet Little Rock and Roller as the B-side and in a picture sleeve, another with Don't Be Cruel on the flip. Later in 1972 Linda and Richard were backing singers on Sandy Denny's solo album Sandy. Linda teamed up with Simon Nicol and Richard. Calling themselves Hokey Pokey, they toured as a trio. Linda and Richard married in 1972. Richard's first solo album, Henry the Human Fly, also recorded in 1972, sold poorly. Linda sang on Fairport's album Rosie, credited as Linda Peters. The next album, I Want to See the Bright Lights Tonight, was credited to Richard and Linda Thompson. 2 albums followed in 1975, Hokey Pokey and Pour Down Like Silver. Richard had started to take an interest in Sufism, a mystical form of Islam, in 1973. After the tour, the couple went to a Sufi commune in East Anglia for 6 months, then to another in Maida Vale. Richard announced that he would never play again, but returned after 3 years. She found herself in a community where all the food was prepared by the women. In her words, the members were white middle-class people trying to punish themselves, and everybody else. It taught me a lot. To stay away from sects, mostly. Lights On and Off Again. Their comeback album was called First Light. Richard's writing has a strong thread of disdain for fame, wealth and worldly values and attacks political hypocrisy, often in wildly abstract metaphors. Son of a Star followed in 1979, and Shoot Out the Lights in 1982. Shoot Out the Lights was surprisingly successful in America, and the Thompsons, despite the fractured state of their relationship, were offered a long and lucrative tour of the U.S. Simon Nicol described the final tour, in the summer of 1982, as being like walking on a tightrope, and that as a result the first thing he did on stage was look for the exit. The couple were barely speaking to each other. However, the music they shared was reputedly astonishing, and hearing this their record company arranged a mobile recording studio to record dates for a live album. The recording could not be arranged before the last date of the tour. The penultimate date of the tour was in Los Angeles. Linda reportedly performed the greatest show of her life, then went to stay with her friend Linda Ronstadt. The tapes were finally released in October 2010 in the Shoot Out the Lights box set, although a version of Walking on a Wire from earlier in the tour is on the Free Read RT boxed set. When Richard left Linda, she had just given birth to their 3rd child, Camilla. Linda alone. Linda lost her voice for the next 2 years as a result of spasmodic dysphonia. She made a new start in 1984, singing with the home service at the National Theatre's production of medieval mystery plays, and in 1985 she released her solo album One Clear Moment, then fell silent for 11 years. One song from the album, called Telling Me Lies, written with Betsy Cook, was recorded by Emmylou Harris, Dolly Parton, and Linda Ronstadt for their trio album in 1987. The recording was nominated for a Grammy in the Best Country Song category. Linda retired from music to run an antique jewelry shop in Bond Street, London. She married Steve Kennis, an American who was an agent for recording artists. In the same year Richard married U.S. folk club organizer, Nancy Covey. A compilation of Linda's earlier work, Dreams Fly Away, included both previously released songs and alternate versions of some of her better-known songs. It was received politely but did not sell well. In 1999, Linda's mother died. This provoked an outpouring of sorrow and regenerated her determination to sing. Linda was diagnosed with spasmodic dysphonia, preventing her from singing. A temporary cure was found. By having Botox injected into her throat, she could regain her normal singing voice for a few months. Give Me a Sad Song was positively reviewed. In 2002, she released a new CD, Fashionably Late, which featured several family members, including her son, Teddy, and daughter Camila, as well as a brief appearance by Richard Thompson. Linda appeared along with her son, Teddy Thompson, her friends, the McGarrigles, and their children Martha Wainwright and Rufus Wainwright in How Wellness Came So Far for Beauty tribute concerts to the music of Leonard Cohen from 2003 to 2006. Linda sang the Cohen songs A Thousand Kisses Deep and Alexandra Leaving. She appeared again with Teddy Thompson with the McGarrigles and Wainwrights for some of their family concerts, including the McGarrigle Christmas shows. In 2007, Linda released yet another set of original songs and covers, Versatile Heart. Like Fashionably Late, this too was primarily a collaboration with son Teddy Thompson, and the CD also features a supporting cast of family and friends. The CD was well received in the press. The CD opens and closes with two arrangements of a Teddy Thompson instrumental piece Stay Bright, the first an acoustic version, and the second a version for string quartet arranged by famed Nick Drake collaborator Robert Kirby. She contributed vocals to the Primal Scream album Beautiful Future, on the track Over and Over. Linda and Richard Thompson performed a duet at June 12, 2010 Meltdown Festival tribute concert to Kate McGarrigle, which Richard coordinated. Linda's fourth solo album, Won't Be Long Now, was released on October 15, 2013. The album features compositions and backing vocals from Teddy Thompson and his sisters, as well as guitar work by Richard Thompson. Linda appears on the album Family by Thompson, having written 2 songs for the project. The album was produced by her son Teddy Thompson and features Richard Thompson and the Rails, who are Linda's daughter Kami Thompson and her husband James Walburn, as well as other related musicians, including Walburn's brother and Richard Thompson's son from his second marriage. Discography: Richard and Linda Thompson. 1 Want to See the Bright Lights Tonight, Hokey Pokey, Pour Down Like Silver, First Light, Son of a Star, Shoot Out the Lights. Richard and Linda Thompson, in Concert 1975, solo albums, One Clear Moment, Fashionably Late, Versatile Heart, Won't Be Long Now, a Euro-UK number 76, other projects, Family. In 2009 No Telling from Fashionably Late was included in Topic Records' 70-year anniversary boxed set 3 and 10 as track 15 on the 5th CD. Solo compilations, Dreams Fly Away, Give Me a Sad Song, singles a Euro Richard and Linda Thompson, I Want to See the Bright Lights Tonight / When I Get to the Border, Hokey Pokey / I'll Regret It in the Morning, Don't Let a Thief Steal Into Your Heart / First Light, Georgie on a Spree / Civilization, Don't Renege on Our Love / Living in Luxury. References. External links, official website, audio interview with Linda Thompson on the Sodijika on Songwriting podcast, Crawdaddy. Review of Fashionably Late, 2007.